You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast, a podcast by diehard fans for fans. Mark covers all things Penn State football and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as anything related to the sports and fitness world. Tune in weekly to listen to a couple of dedicated fans talk about these topics without filters. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back in to another episode of the Mark Lesko Podcast, covering Penn State football today with Brett. Brett, welcome back in, man.
Glad to be back, as always. Penn State football, nothing better.
Yeah, so we got some news, not a lot. But first and foremost, like I said, you can see it in the bottom left there. I'm only answering comments on Rumble. So if you guys come on here, like I said, I'm only answering them on Rumble now. I'm just trying to grow that channel. It's just better. Better for creators, stuff like that. I'm going to still be on YouTube. I'm not going to just abandon all the people that we have following us on there. And we've really built up an audience there. But I want to get you guys over to Rumble. It's just better. So for several reasons. So just to throw that out there again. And then I've been putting up a lot of shorts and clips. So, keep an eye out for that. Pretty much clip every episode. And, it's quite a bit of work, but I love doing it. So I'm not comparing myself in any way to Tom Brady, but I say this because when Tom Brady said, I love watching film. Like I can watch 10 hours of film like it's nothing because that's what he loves to do. He loves to prepare. And I could do that with like podcasting, sounds, clipping, whatever. I could do that all day. I like doing it. So it's a lot of work, but I like doing it. I used to cut clips for like Bill O'Brien's press conferences when he was there because I was there in school. Stuff like that. So USA lost, unfortunately. That sucks to the people up north. And I'll say this too, man. I was thinking this while I was watching it. It's really hard to commentate hockey. I've done that. It's very hard. Yeah. And man, and then you've got volleyball too. That's really hard to commentate. Like if you're ever watching a sport and you're like, what would we like to call this? It's tough because it's really quick.
Yeah.
So those guys that do it are the best at what they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to get into like the way too early top 25, we're going to talk about like our roster and kind of who we got coming back. We've kind of already talked about it a little bit. We're going to get into like the roster going into next year, and then Steve Drayton, Stan Drayton, Coach Drayton, did an interview with Steve Jones. I actually saw Steve Jones the other day.
One of the best.
And,
Steve Jones, one of the best to do it, man.
Hold on. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's not bad.
My headphones disconnected. Hold on.
You still got Steelers Central at the bottom there.
Hold on. Come on, headphones. Connect. I hate technology.
Yeah. Be a pain.
I was listening to this podcast the other day where they're like, we accomplish all this stuff as like humans, but then you get on a podcast and like something doesn't work. It's like, all right, are you going to connect or not? Oh, come on. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So, and I think that's really it. Coach Drayton, Who we got coming back? Saquon and a couple other guys from Penn State win a ring, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, only answering comments on Rumble. But at number one, we got. So this is like the way too early, but
This
we
is
got
ESPN's. Yeah, there's so many
yeah,
different. Yeah.
and it's ESPN. Number one, Ohio State. They got Jeremiah Smith coming back, Carnell Tate, Caleb Downs. I think they got Julian Sayin as quarterback. Lost a lot, including all top three of their position coaches. Travian Henderson, Emeka Ibuka, Will Howard, Inu, Peyton Manning, even though he's not even that good. Donovan Jackson, Cody Simon, Lathon Ransom, Jack Sawyer, JT, Denzel Burke. And we got Texas, number 2. And I guess Quentin Ewers is leaving. So Arch Manning, Quintavion Wisner, Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons, Trey Moore. I'm pretty sure Simmons is like projected to be a top pick. Penn State, number 3, Drew Aller. Pretty much our whole roster's coming back. Abdul is gone. Tyler Warren's gone. Jalen Reed, Sal Wormley, Javon Thomas, Kobe King. You sent me a thing about Javon doing a lot of charity. But Kabinda, he talked about Abdul, so we're going to play that.
Yep, I saw that.
Dude, why do I keep disconnecting? My headphones keep disconnecting. That's so weird. Because if my headphones disconnect, then your sound is bad, because that's how the thing is set up. But Notre Dame at 4. I'm not even going to talk about that. Georgia, Gunnar Stockton. I mean, you pretty much know what a Georgia quarterback is going to look like. Pretty much a pocket guy. That Gunnar Stockton, he looked like he had some mobility, but not
more than most of them do for them.
Yeah. Pretty much going to be a pocket quarterback. Trevor Etienne is gone. That's Travis's brother from the
Trevor
Jaguars.
Etienne was maybe, I don't know if it was the offensive line for Georgia, but I wasn't impressed with him at all. His brother's, but
he came from Florida, Trevor.
Yeah, he came from Florida.
But Oregon Ducks, Evan Stewart, Devon Jackson. They got the number 1 receiver coming in. They're losing Dylan Gabriel. Clemson, they got their quarterback coming back. That's important. Sammy Brown, he was like a top recruit.
Yeah.
He was squatting like 800 pounds in high school or something like that. LSU, so they got there another kind of same thing with like
they had a big portal class.
Yeah, same thing with Stockton, like not a very mobile quarterback, got a pretty good arm. Garrett Nussmeier.
Yep.
And then BYU, South Carolina.
South Carolina could be sneaky good. We'll see.
Ryan Williams, the nail painter, is coming back. Did
He's
you
18
see that?
now. He's 18 now, so they won't say the 17-year-old female.
Dude, like that's like if you're a football player, man, you're painting your nails. It's like, what are you doing, man?
Caleb Williams started that trend, man. I don't know.
Like you see some guys with their nails painted. It's like whatever. But if you're a football player, dude, like what? Especially a quarterback or the best player on your team. Yeah, then Indiana, that won't last. Florida, Tennessee, Louisville, Michigan. I think they'll be better than what they're ranked. Bryce Underwood coming in.
It's hard
A&M,
to
Miami.
say too, because Michigan's losing a lot of defensive linemen too. So we'll see if they can sack it back up. It's kind of like us; we're losing a lot of defensive tackles, just like them.
But, yeah, they got like 3 guys that go in the first round in their defense.
Kenneth Grant, yeah, those guys are very good.
Miami, Boise, Ole Miss. So same with Ole Miss. I mean, you know, they could be better than what they're ranked, but that's way too early.
Ole Miss at 25s actually seems kind of underrated for them because they could be good. Like
Yeah.
25 seems kind of disrespectful
Well,
to them. But
I thought they would make the top 4 this year, but they didn't.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, so top 2025 top 10 according to On3, way too early. Texas, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia, South Carolina, Clemson. The thing about Notre Dame, man, it's like, why are they ranked so high? I don't know. It's one of those things where you have to like almost put them in the top rankings, but they never fulfill it. Like, you know that they're going to, like, maybe like this year make a national title that get blown out. Like, that's what happens every time they play in a big game. So, but I guess they are deserving of being up there. But Riley Leonard, he's leaving. That's a huge loss. But
I don't know who they have at quarterback. I couldn't tell you.
Benjamin Morrison, he's a first rounder. I think he might be like top 10.
Yeah, he got
hurt. Yeah. So and then On3, like I said, they got Texas, Oregon. I think Oregon's gonna be not as good this year. Ohio State will not, who knows?
Yeah.
Notre Dame, who knows? Georgia, I think they'll be okay. South Carolina, who knows? The only reason they're in there is Clemson's in there is because of Cade Klubnik, really. But yeah, so the usual suspects there in the.
Well, Clemson getting Tom Allen, if he can fix the defense just a little bit, they could be a solid team. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's better than what they had. That's for sure.
All right. And I'm gonna pull up what PSU Dylan posted, which was kind of random that he posted it, but because he's been covering mainly basketball and like wrestling and stuff. But
well, he's still doing football stuff.
All right. We got Devontae Ross, Caden Hudson, TJ Shanahan, King Mack, and I White. That's my guy. Owen Waffle. Yep, we got Drew Aller. Pretty much our whole offense is coming back. A lot of our defense is coming back. Winter workout, spring ball, spring transfer portal window. Matt from Penn State Jersey was on here. He said he thinks that we're going to get 2 all-conference receivers. I hope that's true.
I don't think they'll be in the portal, to be honest with you.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, you're going to have to drop a bag if you want, like, a top receiver. I think it was Jeremiah Smith. He was offered $4.5 million.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was Penn State or not. Probably not, but they didn't say who it was. But, yeah, man, we need some more weapons at receiver for sure. That's kind of our weak point. Our offensive line is good. Yeah. But so Kyron Hudson, Peter Gonzalez, Ethan Black, Devontae Ross, Anthony Ivey, Josiah Brown, Ty Zier, William Clifford, Caden Saunders. So not a terrible lineup.
I think Ty Zier, Denmark's going to step up, dude. I think Denmark's going to step up. And then maybe Caden Saunders when he's healthy. Maybe he can chip in, you know.
But, you know, we got the line, man. We're stacked. Drew Shelton, Ethan Boyer.
Insane.
Is Ethan Boyer like the 6'8" guy?
Yeah, Egan Boyer is like 6'7", 6'8". He still needs to put on a few pounds, but then Garrett Sexton's 6'7" as well.
Yeah.
So they're both going to be very good.
I think Egan Boyer was the 3-star guy. And then we got Vega. Yeah. Javen Williams backing him up. Chim Diona. Nick Dawkins coming back, which is huge. TJ Shanahan. Dominic Rowley. Cooper Cousins moving to guard. JB Nelson. Alex Birchmeyer. I mean, if you have him at 3 and him at 2, like that's a good sign.
Yep. Where's
Nolan Rucci, Anthony Donka, Malachi Goodman.
Anthony Donka was a 3-star, man, and he played his
he's a freak.
He played his ass off last year before he got hurt.
He's a large man.
Big guy.
Luke Reynolds, Khalil Dinkins, Andrew Rappelier, Joey Schlaffer. So at tight end we're stacked. Drew Aller, Grunkmeyer, Jackson Smolik, Jack Lambert. That is not the Jack Lambert you're thinking of. Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, Corey Smith, Quentin Martin. We also have that other kid that got hurt.
Cam
Wallace.
And we have the freshmen that are already there right now. What's his name? Tyke Hayes. He's there. He's a big dude. He's like 5'11", 2 something already.
The only thing at running back, what I don't want to run into is possibly losing some of these guys in the portal, like Cam Wallace, Tyke Hayes, Corey Smith, Quentin Martin. Quentin Martin's too good to transfer. Yeah. I really want him. He could. I mean, we could see him play quite a bit this year on special teams, definitely. But I hope he cracks into the running backs.
If we lose a running back, I think it'll be like next fall. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because it's going to be – the room's going to be stacked. We still have Jabri Wallace-Coleman coming in, too, from Philly. He'll be here in the summer, so it's stacked.
The thing about him is, like, he's kind of built like Stephon Green, but he reminds me of Silas Red. You know, he's got a good build on him. Those guys in the weight room definitely putting in work.
Well, Martin's 6'1", too. He's tall.
Yeah, he is, yeah. Anai White, Max Granville, that's a stacked position right there.
Yep.
Zane Durant, Freak, Ty Blanding, Owen Waffle, Caleb Bartise, Alonzo Ford coming back, Xavier Gillum, Smith Vilbert, Zariah Fisher, Jalen Harvey. We're stacked there too.
Yep. Can we talk about defensive tackle quick on who he thinks? I think my predictions on who I think is going to step up, other than Zane Durant, obviously. Caleb Artis is a big body. He's like 315 pounds. I could see him stepping in there. But don't watch out for redshirt sophomore Ty Blanding and Gilliam. Where's Gilliam? Xavier Gilliam. Watch out for those guys because they're both around 300 pounds right now, and they're he's a redshirt freshman, and then Ty Blanding's redshirt sophomore. They could step in and play too. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do other than Zane Durant. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Tony Rojas, you know, he's going to have to be one of the most conditioned athletes in the world. But I like what he did this year. He's to kind of sharpen up his tackling. But Keon Wiley, Dakari Nelson, huh?
He was playing hurt. That's when that was.
Yeah. Dom DeLuca, Tamir Robinson, Anthony Specca. So, and then Elliot Washington, Kenny Wosley, Tyler Armstead, DeJuan Lane, King Mack. So we're pretty good at defensive back too. Zakee Wheatley's probably going to be one of our best guys next to AJ Harris.
Yep.
And then got some good young guys like Vabu Torrey and Davian Collins, Lamont Payne, John Mitchell, then Zion Tracy, pick 6 against Ohio State, and Colin Dinkins. Good. So, yeah, we're pretty good overall, man. Bringing our kicker back. Ice is coming back.
We're just going to call Dom DeLuca. I'm just going to call him hometown hero from now on because that's what he is. And that's what he does. He makes big plays. He's a hometown hero. He's a PA guy.
And then we got, kick return, Quentin Martin, Nick Singleton, punt return, Zion. So, yeah, man, we're in pretty good shape. The roster looks good. Overall, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of good guys coming back. So, all right. So, like I said, way too early is that we're top 3 and top 4. So, looking pretty good. You have anything else to say about that? Guys coming back?
Yeah, I mean, other than I think the most intriguing positions to look at least for defense, is, like I said, who's going to play defensive tackle with Zane Durant? Who's going to play linebacker with Tony Rojas and Dom DeLuca? Like, who's going to step in? Is it going to be who is it? No, we just had it up. Who are the linebackers? I'm drawing a blank here.
Hold on.
Number 24. Yeah, pull it up real quick.
Keon Wiley, or I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
Wiley,
Keon
if he can
Wiley.
stay healthy. But then we got what's his name?
Tamir Robinson, yeah.
Tamir Robinson, is he going to step in? And then you got Anthony Specca, like the Pittsburgh guy. Is he going to step in? He's already pretty big. We got Dakari Nelson. I forgot he switched to linebacker last year. He might be able to step in. He's still new to the position, but you never know. He's a big guy, dude. He's like 6'.
Yeah, he's 6'3" too. So
6'3". He's just putting some weight on now. He was a safety, so he needed to put on a few pounds, but he has the frame. So, and then those are the biggest. Cornerback, we already kind of know what we're going to get. We're going to get A.J. Harris, lockdown corner, and then we're going to get Aldavian Collins, Zion Tracy, maybe Belgrave Short and moved to safety, so he might chip in. DeJuan Lane's going to be a freak. I mean, he was a true freshman last year. He's big. He's like the same size as KJ Winston, tall, lengthy.
yeah.
It's interesting to see what's going to go on. So,
all right. So we'll play Coach Straighton's interview.
Yeah.
It's like 6 minutes. So.
Coach at Penn State, Stan Drayton. First of
all,
all,
hear that all right?
Stan, welcome to Penn State.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love it here.
What was it about James Franklin and Penn State where you said, you know what, that's a place and a person I need to be with?
Well, I've been knowing James for a long time, and he's always handled himself with such high integrity. As an individual, you hold yourself to such a standard, it's only going to permeate into a program that you're in charge of. And so I've watched him over his career, and he's held that standard everywhere he's been. And now he has an opportunity here at Penn State. He's been here for a while. And what else to say about Penn State? I went to school in this state. All you hear is Penn State. I worked in this state. All you hear is Penn State. And so this is a premier opportunity with a premier coaching staff for me to continue my career. And so it was a no-brainer for me. It really was. It's a high-tier program that's holding integrity, and it's all about raising the whole man here, and I really appreciate that.
When you look at veteran running backs, of which you have two of them that have accomplished so much and have done things on the biggest stage, and Nicholas Singleton and Kaytron Allen, and younger running backs.
Sure.
What does it take for you to get to know personnel, and do you treat a veteran different than you do a younger player?
Well, it's based on where they are in their development. Quite honest, it's custom fit for every individual. First things first for me is I have to earn their trust and they have to earn mine, and that's with every one of those backs in that room from top to bottom. In order for me to get them where they're trying to go and help them to reach the potential that they're capable of, there has to be a certain level of trust and respect there, and that's earned. Now, if there's a guy that is more mature in his approach and he's doing the things that are already at a high standard, then you can take the level of development to another level for them if they're ready. But it has to be custom fit. I need to really get into that room, get to know my guys inside and out, find out where their strengths and weaknesses are, where they are in their development, both on and off the football field, and then customize my approach accordingly to each individual.
How important is it for the older players to be leaders for your younger players?
It's critically important. They're leaving back a legacy. Those guys have to follow what they leave behind. And if there's a crack in their foundation, they may create a mindset of a younger player that's acceptable, and that can't be, especially at a place like Penn State. So there's been a legacy of great backs that I think we are following that legacy as we continue on today. And it's important that our younger guys understand that it is bigger than them, and they're leaving back something that has to be picked up and inherited by their teammates.
You understand that at every level you've coached at, everybody sees the running back with the ball.
Yeah.
How important is it for you to teach them how important life is when you don't have the ball and you can still win games when you don't have the ball?
That's the beauty of the running back position, especially in today's football, right? Everyone wants to devalue that position, especially in the league right now, devalue that position. And then all of a sudden there's a Saquon Barkley who blows the scene up, and all of a sudden that position is important again. Well, why? Well, it's not just because he can run the football. Certainly that's a large part of it, but he became a dual threat, a guy that's a threat that can catch the football and still be explosive and be productive on offense that way. So, no, I think just today's game, there's two jobs of a running back that won't change, and that's protecting the football and protecting the quarterback. And if you are lacking in any one of those areas, regardless of your skill set, you really can't be out there expecting to achieve big things.
When you look at, we talk about today's running backs and what they can do along the way. The emphasis you mentioned on protecting the football.
Yeah.
That is a non-negotiable thing with James Franklin. That had to align with you right away.
Right away. Absolutely. I mean, there's no way, you can win a football game by giving the ball to the opponent. That's not how the ball is designed. I go all the way back to, a famous quote from, I think it was Lombardi, who said, I'd rather die a young man than to fumble this football, and that's a little harsh to say in today's world. But if you're trying to obtain big things, like we're going for a national championship this year, we cannot be, giving our opponent an advantage because we can't protect the football. That just does not work.
It's obviously important for a running back to know the offense. How important is it for the running back to know the defense and how they play and how they can play off of it?
You're speaking my language there. The more you know defense, you understand fits, you understand what the defense is doing, it slows the game down for you, and it allows you to play faster and allow your instincts to take over, right? If you're constantly sitting there contemplating and processing what the defense is doing within a play, then you're definitely not playing to the full capability of what you're designed to do. So it's all about being able to anticipate what's happening. All great running backs have the ability to anticipate. You can't anticipate until you have a good, firm understanding of what the big picture is.
You love being a teacher, don't you? Where does that come from, that ability to want to teach, to give back and watch growth?
I think I learned it very early in my career as a football player. Two guys by the name of Ken O'Keefe and Joe Philbin.
Yep.
I told them I was going to be a lawyer. They looked at me and laughed and said, "Hey, you're a football coach. You just don't know it." I said, "Well, please call my mom and my dad, because if they hear me getting ready to coach after them paying for some schooling, I don't think that's going to go too well." But no, it was all about Ken O'Keefe and Joe Philbin giving me that little dry board and a marker and said, "Here's how you draw a circle, and here's how you teach in progression." And me learning that way made it real clear to me that is progression type teaching that is going to get an individual to learn at a high level. And the thing about that is not everyone's going to learn the same, right? You have to be able to midstream adjust and find the proper way for a student athlete to learn the proper way. And you may have different type of learners in your room, and you have to be able to customize your teaching and spend the proper time that it takes for certain individuals to learn what you're teaching. There's no cookie cutter way to do it, right? And you just have to figure it out as a teacher. And I think that's what makes great teachers, is those who have found ways to midstream adjust their message to make sure that the individual is getting what they're being taught.
Well, Stan, it's great to have you, your family, be a part of the Penn State football family. Thanks so much for your time today.
Oh, I appreciate it. We are Penn State, baby.
Yeah. That white hoodie's fresh. They always have the best gear on the team, dude. Like the coaches, and that white hoodie with they're all custom with the Nike.
Yeah.
Insane.
So yeah, that was interesting. Well spoken, like you said. Yeah, just both of our, I want to say this, both of our
hires
have talked about winning a national title. That's because that's the most important part, and I think that's why you've guys returning. You have these coaches coming here because they want to win a national title. They want to get a ring.
Yep.
And again, man, if it doesn't happen this year, like, I don't know.
It's going to be a while, because we'll be in rebuild mode next year for certain positions.
Pretty much. I mean, this 22 class is extremely important.
Yeah, not rebuild, but like there'll have to be young guys that step up that you don't know about yet, and that's it's the unknown that is tricky to guess. You can't guess the unknown this year. There's some unknown, like with the receivers coming in and stuff like that, but there are other players that are on our team coming back. You know what they're going to bring. They're going to bring it every week to practice. They're going to bring it every week to Saturday. We know what the running backs, Katron Allen, Nick Singleton, and Zane Durant, and Denai Dennis Sutton, Tony Rojas, AJ Harris. We know what these guys are going to do. So it's just the collective team as a whole. I think they're hungry, man, and it's showing it because the coaches are talking about a natty. So let's do it.
Yeah. The fact that these guys are coming back, a lot of these guys are coming back, like Drew Aller, Katron. Let me think. Denai, all these 22 class guys, they could have left.
Yeah.
And some guys could have transferred. But like Abdul would have been great to have him back, but could be the first pick in the draft.
You can't blame him.
Which he is projected to be. And then, you've got just the fact that this 22 class, man, has done what they've done. And obviously coming into it, man, Abdul was probably the best guy in that class, as good as the class was.
Yep.
Technically, he wasn't, because I think Drew Aller was the best player in the class of all the guys that came in that class. But
recruiting-wise, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's not surprising that he turned into a potential first overall pick, which I think he should be.
Yeah.
And he is projected to be the number one pick by pretty much everybody. And then Travis Hunter as well got some hate, obviously, for saying that he shouldn't be the first pick, that he's kind of overrated, which I think he is. He could go to Cleveland, and then I could see the Steelers dicing him up, depending on who the quarterback is. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, man, it's we got good guys coming back, and he talked about a national title. He knows what he has. He spoke about, leaving a legacy. That's very important, because Penn State has had a ton of good college running backs. Not so much in the NFL, but like Kajana Carter got hurt. He could have been really good in the NFL.
Yeah.
Blair Thomas, great running back. Curtis Enos, Larry Johnson, Saquon, Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders was, he backed up Saquon, man, his whole career. But he was right up there with him, and he still had a good career in the NFL. Still is, kind of. He's on a bad team, but the list goes on and on, man. Evan Royster,
big Royster fan,
Stephon Green, Silas Redd. The list goes on and on of who we've had at running back.
Yeah.
Kabinda. Like I said, I knew him. He's a nice guy, really nice guy.
And Indy Nation, I've got 3 reasons why Abdul Carter should be the number 1 overall pick as long as a quarterback doesn't get picked. And here are the reasons why. Number 1 is Abdul's play strength. This guy went from a stand-up linebacker to coming and moving up to the line of scrimmage, playing D-end as an edge rusher. And some of the biggest questions were, is he going to be able to handle the physicality of offensive tackles down at the line of scrimmage? And man, did he prove us wrong. There are plenty of clips of Abdul manhandling O-line, playing super strong in the run, and having plenty of TFLs, as you can see in his stat line. Number 2, and it's probably his most and special trait, is this guy's bend. This dude can bend and get to the quarterback, and it's the number 1 thing that D coordinators are looking for out of their defensive ends and edge rushers is, can this guy not only defeat the block, but does he have the athleticism to get his hips turned and get around to the quarterback? And that is what Abdul does best. As you see in his 12 sacks in his first year at DN, this guy's stock is only going to continue to rise as the draft gets closer and closer. I'm super excited about him. And number 3 is simply his speed and his athleticism. Whether it's getting out in the screen game, whether it's being able to run the hump and get all the way around, chasing quarterbacks that are able to get out of the pocket, Abdul can do all of these things. This is a guy who may show up to the combine and can quite possibly run a 4.4. And for a guy that's 6'2", 255, 260 pounds, that is very, very impressive. And for those of you guys who think Travis Hunter should maybe be that guy, my only thing with Travis Hunter is there's just too many questions surrounding what he's going to do. Is he going to be a wide receiver? Is he going to be a cornerback? If he is a wide receiver, is he going to a team with capable quarterback play that can allow Travis Hunter to make the impact that he's supposed to make as a high draft pick? At least with Abdul, the floor is still really high because you know exactly what you're going to get out of this dude. And man, the ceiling is Micah Parsons high. So you know how special this kid is, man. Go look out for Abdul Carter, number 11 from Penn State. What's going on?
Yeah, very true what he said. You're pretty much looking at Micah Parsons again. And, again, like going back to it, the Steelers, I wanted them to draft like a franchise player like Trevor Lawrence, or because he would be good and better on the Steelers, or a Micah Parsons or a Saquon Barkley, one of these franchise-turning players. He's one of them, Abdul. Now, next year, I think is the year that the Steelers should kind of trade up and get like an Arch Manning or something like that. But if he's in the NFL, I think he will be. But yeah, man, he's a generational talent. I think he'll be very good. I think he could be like rookie of the year because I think he can make more of an impact than Travis Hunter on any team that's going to take him pretty much because he'll be going high.
Yeah.
But
I hope he goes anywhere but the Browns, dude. The Browns are just the Browns. You know what I mean? Like if Abdul Carter goes to the Browns, that's just lame.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind him on the Titans. That'd be the first pick, right? Titans.
All right. Yeah, it's because they're the first pick. All right, so I'm gonna pull up because we talked about it last year how he's projected, last week how he's projected to be the first overall pick. But we got Titans Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter to the Browns, Cam Ward, that's a joke, going to the Giants. Good luck, New York. You're gonna stay New York. Will Campbell, Patriots, Mason Graham, Jags, Shadur Sanders, that's another joke. Tyler Warren to the Jets. I mean, bro, if you're gonna take if you're gonna take the top talent here, man, I think that's McMillan, and then the kid from Missouri. What's his name?
The receiver.
Yeah, Walter Nolan. He was the number one overall player in his class. Penn State. The coach from Penn State was at where was he? A&M. He got him to come there. But I think you're looking at, in terms of top talent, man. Like if you're just looking at Luther Burden, so you got Luther Burden probably at like for me 4. In terms of like just the best players, and then Warren's probably 3, Mason Graham, so 2, and then it's top 5. So Mason Graham's 3, and then you got Travis Hunter and Abdul. Like those are the top 5 guys in my opinion, man. In terms of
I would love Tyler Warren to go 7. That'd be awesome. I don't see him going 7 though. I could see him going like 14.
Yeah.
Actually, people have him going to the Colts at 14.
I think. I hope he goes to the Chiefs just because
I hate the Chiefs. It'd be a good fit for him, but I hate him because
just for him as a player, I want him to go to a team that.
Well, because Travis Kelce, he might play one more year. We don't even know yet.
Now I don't know everybody in this class, but like
this class is loaded.
That's what stands out to me. Ashton Genty as well. To me, like I don't think this class is loaded, but there's some good guys.
It's not a QB loaded class, but the class overall has got some freaks in it, man. I mean, defensive tackle, defensive end is a stacked class in general. There's some good defensive ends. I don't know. It's a pretty stacked class, to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah. So Mason Graham is a freak, man. Like he could, but I think who you're going to hear from, like in the years coming, because I saw this thing for the 2013 draft recently, and it was horrendous. That whole draft sucked. Lane Johnson's probably the best guy to come out of that class. That was not only a boring draft, but it just everyone in that pretty much was not good. D. Milliner could have been really good, but he didn't pan out. But like Abdul, you'll hear about him. You'll hear about Travis Hunter, Will Campbell, even Mason Graham. You'll hear about him in good ways. Tyler Warren, but like maybe McMillan. But you know, it's like probably Malachi too. But you know, it's like this class, man. I don't even know how he's going to do. Ashton Genty, Kelvin Banks, we'll see. But you just don't know, man. You don't know how this is going to play out.
No, you don't. But it's a stacked college class, is what I'm saying. Like
Walter Nolan could be good, but even Kenneth Grant, Jahad Campbell. But like, you know, you have these guys that you know you're going to hear about. Luther Bird, another guy. I think Penn State will have more than one or two. I think they'll have more than two guys in the top in the first round. I think you're crazy if you're not looking at like a Jalen Reed or, I mean, these are value picks, but even Kevin Winston, man, if it weren't for his injury, he'd be a first round pick.
That's a problem, man.
But yeah. So
Jalen Reed and KJ Winston will probably both go in the third round. They'll probably both go because Jalen Reed's doesn't have crazy length or speed or anything, so he'll fall to probably the third round.
Yeah,
but he's a legit player.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're looking at there with, again, the NFL draft and what Kabinda said.
If you want to bring up quick, I was telling you about the 2026, or we can wait to do that, the playoff setup.
Yeah. I want to pull up this next thing. We'll bring up 2026. We'll do recruiting too, if you want to do that. But yeah, so Super Bowl champs, Saquon, Jahan, and Tariq, Castro Fields, all got their rings, which is awesome. Yeah, Black Magic wasn't working.
Hunter Norzad played on the Chiefs, so he at least played.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, the Chiefs O-line did horribly. It'd be interesting to see if Hunter could have done anything, but if he's not playing in front of that horrible line, then he probably wouldn't have done much better. But yeah, they just totally dominated. And I said that, man. I said that the game's gonna come down to that Eagles D line because they were so good and they just freaking annihilated Mahomes. So yeah, it's yeah, just an interesting thing. They're having three guys from Penn State. And I also saw a thing where they all have their degrees, which is awesome. Already. I think Chaz Powell, for example, he didn't get his degree until like 2022 or something, and he left for the NFL in 2011. Well, I should say he graduated, like he left because he had his 4-year max. Dude, at that point, man, if you're like a 4 or 5 year guy, you should definitely be out 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so he was a 4-year guy. Like, you should definitely be out with your degree after 4 years. That's kind of crazy. If you're there for 4 years, which means you're probably not good enough to leave early and you still don't have your degree. Not a criticism, but I'm just saying, like, you should probably already have your degree. He did not.
Yeah.
Saquon, I think he got his degree. He didn't get it. He didn't get it until later.
He finished it later. Yeah, he like a little bit later.
But yeah, so the hockey team, they just beat number 1 as well.
They're on a roll, man.
Penn State Threads. Yeah, man, they look like they could really
make a run.
Yeah,
they play
like,
number 1 again
be legit.
Tonight. Yep.
Penn State Threads, they've been posting some stuff too. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Thon. I do hope that all of that money actually goes where it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Brett, you have anything to say about Thon?
Huh?
You have anything to say about him? About Thon?
I mean, it's one of the greatest fundraisers, man, for cancer, and you gotta appreciate it. And I think they're doing the right thing, and they put a lot of work into it, and the students and the people involved. Like, hats off to you, man, because that's a long, rough weekend and exhausting. You know, just staying up, dancing, and they had the fray there.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is, but
you would know a couple. They had a couple not bangers, but a couple popular songs back in like the 2000s. That you would if you heard it, you would know what it is.
And again, I say I'm not the biggest fan for personal reasons. Like, I've just some stories from people that I know personally that it didn't work out for them, and I hope that all that hard work does ultimately turn into, and it does help a lot of people, man.
It does.
I've just seen it also not help some people. But overall, like you said, all the hard work that goes into it, it's a lot of Greek life too, which I'm not, not the biggest fan of, but that is a majority of the Penn State population is Greek life. So people are doing it. The people that are doing it for the right reasons are doing it for the right reasons. So, And then Penn State stuns number 1, Michigan State.
Loses. Reese Laback. Wired one. Late in the second period. Here he is again. He scores! And Penn State wins in the shootout.
The worst goalie I've
What a
ever
night
seen.
for Reese Laback.
He didn't even have to do it. That was bad. To be on the number 1 team and just shit the bed like that, dude.
And the crowd here inside Munn Ice Arena.
Those are the ugliest Michigan State uniforms I've ever seen. Those are horrid. Like the color green they got with, terrible, dude.
Someone said worst commentary ever. Laubach and Link on a generational run. We are so back. Yeah. So
while you're on Instagram, if you want to, if you do want to talk recruiting, there's some big visits that were assigned that Penn State Rivals posted for a couple guys.
What say that again?
Penn State Rivals, their Instagram page, they posted a couple different guys that set up visits for this summer with Penn State. A couple big recruits. 5-star offensive lineman, 4-star linebacker.
I'm going to pull up the playoff thing real quick, and then we'll jump into the recruiting. All right, so pretty much, Brett, explain this. What's going on?
So, from my understanding, Josh Pate talked about it, and it's heading in a much better direction than it is right now. Obviously, it worked out for Penn State last year because of the seeding, but the way there was so much talk about who's going to be in, who's not going to be in, we're not going to have to deal with that in 2026 because the SEC and the Big Ten are taking the playoff. They're doing what they want with it. Like we're in charge. Big Ten and SEC are going to be in charge because they are the 2 best conferences by a mile. It's not remotely close. So the rankings of the SEC, the top 4 SEC teams by the end of the year, they will get into the playoff. The top 4 Big Ten teams in the rankings, like Big Ten wins and losses, it doesn't even matter what your actual record is, really. But regardless, if you're in the top 4 of one of those conferences, your record is going to be pretty good, let's be honest. So the top 4 from each conference will get an automatic bid to the playoff. And after that, it goes down to probably the highest. I didn't look as much into it for like the Big 12 and the ACC, but like the top team or 2 from those conferences should be able to get in. And then once they're all ranked, there's not going to be who gets this seed. It's just they're going to be ranked, and then who's going to play who. It's going to be so much. It's going to be simplified. You know what I mean? It's going to be simplified. It's going to work out better. Nobody's going to get screwed really because your record's your record, and if you're on the top 4, you're there for Big Ten. So, and then the best part about it too is because of that, the Big Ten and the SEC are going to have a contract to play non-conference games with each other moving forward. So, 2026 to I think it's a 3 or 4 year contract for this new playoff. So 2026 to like 2030 it might be for that, the way that playoff system is set up. So it's going to be the same for a couple of years until they think about something else. But let's say Penn State plays LSU or Texas or teams we never play. Like that would be cool, right? Because other than waiting to the playoff to see one of those games happen, you could see it in the regular season and the views will go up. The fun of watching football will go up. And you won't have to worry about losing that game because it won't affect you. How cool is that? Think about it. It won't affect you because it's a non-conference game.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool. That's all I know right now about it.
Get like if you want to expand it, that's fine. But again, I don't think there should be any bye weeks or it should be seeded the top 16, 12, 14, whatever. And like the worst team plays the best team. Like that's it.
Yeah.
It should truly be laid out that way. And again, like I know they really can't do away without the bye weeks, but I would like them to do away with that because every bye week team lost this year.
Yeah.
And I think it hurts them. I mean, Oregon, the only reason they lost because Ohio State got out to a quick lead. That's it. I mean, Notre Dame, Oregon, Tennessee, you guys all let America down. Nobody wanted to see Ohio State win at all. And I guess they did. So, yeah, it needs improvement for sure. So pretty much the SEC and Big Ten will have more people in it pretty much based off what this news is.
Automatically.
Yeah.
And that'll be 14 to 16 teams. I don't know which one yet, but right now it's 12. So this year is the last year of 12. And then they'll go to 14 to 16, which isn't going to change much. That's like an extra game for – no, it wouldn't change anything really for us. But yeah, I don't know all that you'd have. It's a long read to read all of it, but overall, I think it's a much better system than what we have right now for the 12-team playoff. It's great, it's fun, but the way it's set up for 2026, I think is just more ideal. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, based off what I'm seeing, it sounds like the non-conference games will not hurt you.
They won't hurt you.
It's going to be based on conference.
Yep.
And so
that's the biggest difference, and it makes perfect sense. It's actually great.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you had like Boise State and Arizona State at 3 and 4. I mean, that's ridiculous. That should not happen.
Yep. It'll never happen again. It won't.
Well, this is in 2026, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it could happen this year technically, but I don't see that. I don't see those teams making their way back. Maybe Arizona State, Boise State, they're losing generational running back, so they're not going to be back.
So we're in favor of going to a straight seeding where there's no difference between rankings and seeding like we had this year. Yep. But the only thing is, man, with the seeding, like that's another aspect. Like if you have like a Kirk Herbstreit and other morons being like, oh, well, Ohio State should be 1 and Penn State should be 15. Like teams are going to get screwed over because then it comes down to the rankings.
Yeah.
Which could, again, screw a lot of teams over. But, yeah, I think it should be just based on seeding. Sounds like it's just going to be conference play, which I'm okay with that. Kind of. I'd also like it to be like the best records. But, you know, what they're trying to avoid there, I think, is like if a Texas plays like Alabama State and Alabama plays like Alcorn State or whatever, I don't think they can play them. But it's just, you know, like they're playing like these teams that they're going to obviously beat the living crap out of. And they're like, oh, they're 2-0. It's like, yeah, but who did they play, man? Like,
yeah,
they played like, you know, freaking high school teams, basically. All right, so you're sending me this stuff.
I'm sending you the recruiting. Yep.
Yeah, so we'll get into the recruiting here.
Some pretty big names.
So, Brett, what do we got here? In terms of
still pulling these
like
up.
what's your recruiting news, recruiting update?
So February is the dead period. So right now there's not like a lot of commits happening right now anywhere. But right now Penn State's scheduling official visits for this summer because the summer is where it pops off. So you already know we're going to get good cornerbacks. We got Terry Smith. So Giselle Hart, he scheduled visits for Virginia Tech, Penn State, Michigan. That looks like that's going to come down to Penn State, Michigan. Let's be honest here. Virginia Tech had a decent year, but they're not on the same level. Wait, there's a couple more guys.
And this is the 26 class?
These are for 2026. 1 second. Here's another one. A couple offensive linemen.
Isaiah Williams.
Yep, he's a big recruit. All-American game he was in. high 4-star. And then Carter Shrugs. That's funny because I wonder if he's related to the Shrugs that we had. I'll just send this to you now. He's a Virginia offensive lineman. And this is my favorite one I'm sending you now. Emmanuel Inhancho. I don't know how to say his name. You'll see it in a second. 5-star offensive lineman. He's scheduled a visit with us for June 13th. Look at that guy. Look at him. So we're getting we're getting the recruits on campus, man, and it's going to be.
Hey, man, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like some of these recruits we got, like the Egan Boyer, Garrett Sexton guys that are like 6'7", 6'8". This guy, we just talked about him. The guy that got hurt, lineman this year.
The lineman. Anthony Donko.
Yeah, like
huge.
Bro, like what? How does that happen, man? Like, what is like your mothers are great cooks. I just gotta say,
right.
Like Drew Aller, dude. Like what? That guy is a freaking. He's a house. Like he's huge.
Yeah, he's big.
Like what in God? How does that happen, man? How do you get that large in high school? Like this dude is freaking huge.
And this dude's like 16 or maybe 17.
I said, man, like they need to. Penn State needs to like, get all these mothers and like start a cookbook, call it the 2026 class cookbook, and just be like, all right, all you mothers come together and put a cookbook together so we all know.
Caden Hall's the number 2 safety in the class, man.
Yeah, Caden Hall. Yeah, there's Coach 2026 Ben Cogden
from Ohio. You know he's tall because Troutwine's tall. He was not.
Yeah, Troutwine
is a natty. So
yeah, Troutwine was on
the Florida Gators
line. Which is funny. You know he lost a lot of weight.
Oh yeah.
That's like Mark. I don't like Mark Schlereth, but that's like Mark Schlereth, dude. You see him now. He lost a lot of weight, but man, like he was a freaking balloon when he played. He was
a tank
to the max, bro. Like just puffed up.
Yep.
So yeah, good. Some good guys are going after there. I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah.
I think Jason Kabenda retired, right?
Yeah, he retired. He was on the Lions. He was a fullback, dude. Actually, he went from a linebacker on the Raiders for a little bit. He was on the Raiders, and then he went to the Lions, and he was a fullback. So
this is from his time at Penn State, right there.
No.
I mean, dude, he's a freaking just. He was good, man. Really good.
Great.
Nice guy. Like I said, I knew him.
Nice guy.
Just a freak. Walter Payton Man of the Year. That's huge accomplishment. There's Adrian Peterson. I mean, look how big he is, dude. Like, good God. But yeah, like M-Rob, you know, was a different position and went on to play fullback in the NFL. Joe said that M-Rob would be a fullback in the NFL. Looks like he's a captain there. Yeah, just a good character guy, man.
Yeah,
and from what I remember, he didn't come from like the most fortunate background, so good for him.
Look at his traps, dude.
Oh, I know.
See his traps? Yeah. Insane.
I think he's playing volleyball. But yeah, so I could tell you some funny stories about him, man. Good guy. So I think, like I said, Brett, I think that's it. Javon Thomas, he was talking about on a podcast how he did a bunch of charity work. What was this thing you sent me about Nate Bauer? What was that? Yeah, Penn State needs to play the transfer portal game.
Yep.
Consistently about how, against the rules it is for these guys who already know where they're going before they enter the transfer portal. Penn State needs to do that. That's just the reality is whatever form it takes, right? Guy who knows the mom, right? However the back channeling needs to happen with a number that is over and above. I think there is an element of truth. I'm being a little bit flippant, but I'm just saying, making something happen where Penn State in the past has been reticent to upend the room, to disrupt the room, right? In terms of the hierarchy, and you don't want to shake things up to the point where other guys get upset. Like they're past that. They're past that. But James Franklin talked.
Yeah, they've definitely been shaking things up in the offseason. Like I said, Matt from Penn State Jerseys was on here. He said they're going to get 2 all-conference receivers in the spring portal. So, like that meteor is gonna, so it went from 0.8%, 0.08% to 3% chance of hitting Earth. I think even if it does, it's not going to cause a lot of damage. But like, I think we have a better shot of that hitting Earth than we do of getting 2 all-conference receivers in the portal.
The problem is not like Penn State tries to get those type of players. They try. But
they just don't have the money, man.
Either they don't have the money or they're not willing to put up the money for that. But
they're also, what you need to do, like I said, Notre Dame, put money into coaching, not into the players. Put money into coaching. That's what you need. You need good coaching. You have a good head coach.
Which is what we
Marcus
did.
Freeman he's the man. He's just, I'm a big Marcus Freeman guy. He's very young. He's like almost our age.
Yeah, he's like 37.
Just like, dude, he's the man. And they need to put money into coaching at Notre Dame, and that's what Penn State is doing. They put money into coaching. They got the D coordinator. They got Coach Straighten. Jim Knowles. You got to put money into coaching and develop these guys. While Franklin, his resume speaks for itself in terms of development. I just don't know what it is about him on game day, man. Because, like, what sucks, dude, all right? Like, Orange Bowl didn't have receivers, but we had, like, the best tight end in football. We had 2 great running backs. We had a stacked O-line. Run blocking was good. And then, like, Micah Parsons, a Saquon, a Tyler Warren, they're going to go on and have good NFL careers.
Yep.
But we can't win a national title. Like, that's so frustrating. So his resume speaks for itself, but it's like, damn it, dude. Like, we need to win, like, a national title. We need to beat Ohio State, Oregon. And we got Michigan coming back. So
some of it's luck too, man. He doesn't get lucky either.
Yeah.
His game day coaching last year, we even talked about it. His game day coaching last year, there was nothing really wrong with it. He improved. Yeah.
He progressed. Allers progressed.
Cam Miller slipping on that play, that's a touchdown. Like, that's an honest mistake, and it's unlucky that happened. If that doesn't happen, we win the game.
And I don't know if Notre Dame did that on purpose to make him slip. It seemed a bit scheme.
They did the motion for AJ Harris to move back.
But like, as a Penn State team, you got to kind of like expect that in a way. But and like, I forget who was in motion on that, but like, you got to like anticipate, like, this guy needs room. Like, Cam Wallace needs some room here. But yeah, man, it does come down to luck. It really does. Ohio State got lucky this year. I just think they're so corny, man. I think Ryan Day is corny. Like, Ohio versus the world. Like, what are you, starting your own army or what? What are you talking about, dude? Ohio State is one of the most babied teams in college football. Like, they get everything. Like, they're like the Chiefs. So yeah. Anyway, so all right, Brett. I think we're good on this. I don't think there's really anything.
Well, I was going to say, basketball team finally won the other night, and they have a chance to win right now. They're down 7 with 3 minutes, or they're up 7 with 3 minutes to go. They better not crap the bed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Basketball show with Tyler Smith. Check that out.
Yep.
Interview with Brett. When are you coming on to that, dude?
Basketball?
Yeah.
When do you do it a certain day?
Usually Saturday. If you would want to do like 2 episodes in one day, it's just recorded. We usually don't do it live.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, I'm down.
But yeah, I'll have to keep. Yeah, we pretty much started because. But here's the thing: March Madness is coming up, so we can you want to talk about that? I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I love March Madness, man. I don't like basketball really at all, but I like Penn State basketball because they're my team. North Carolina is another team I like because they're like my winning team, if you will, successful team. Like the Pirates, the Red Sox are my winning team, but I'm a Pirates fan. And I like the Red Sox because I hate the Yankees because they have a ton of money, pretty much.
Yep.
And at Duke, I just hate Duke, so I like North Carolina, Michael Jordan, all that. That's not even close. But yeah, check out my show with Tyler Smith, Penn State basketball. My interview with freaking AJ Wallace. The man, what a guy, what a player. Did the Super Bowl preview with Anthony Howard of Free Dog Sports. That's got some language in it, so keep that in mind. Had Penn State jerseys on. Have Jared on. Jared's starting a Pirates show. I think tomorrow is when he's starting it. He's just going to do it himself. He's going to have guests on, so check that out. I know there's a lot of diehard Pirates fans out there. Jared knows the Pirates like the back of his hand. I mean, he knows. If you know anything about Jared, you watching this show, you know he talks a lot, and not in a bad way, but he talks a lot, man. Yep. And if you get him on like Mike Tomlin or the Pirates, you're going to be standing there for a while. So I remember when I first pulled Jared on here, I'm like, because he was always posting on Facebook, and he's a theater guy too, so he was a good theater guy. Like he's he's artistic like that. He was always singing and stuff, but he always put like Steelers and Pirate stuff on. I'm like, yo, man, you want to come on and talk about this? And so for a guy like that who likes to talk, obviously you have him on a podcast. And then Pirates, he loves the Pirates are like his number one thing. He loves the Pirates. So he's going to start a show on here. So yeah, man. Keep an eye out for that meteor too. Shout out to the meteor. Try not to hit us. But like I said, I heard if it does, it's where it's going to land. It's not going to cause really much damage, I guess.
I commented and said, please just hit us.
Well, we need to win it. We need to win a national title first, Penn State. Steelers need to win a Super Bowl. Pirates need to win a World
2030
Series.
or something when it's supposed to come.
You know what's going to happen? It's going to hit Earth right before the Pirates go to the World Series or something. Like that's
2032 is what it says.
Yeah.
I said, please just hit us, and 937 people liked it.
Well, if the election went the other way, then I'd be like,
just end it.
Please end this misery right now. We got this person running the country. But all right. So yeah, we will see you guys next week. Again, I'm only answering comments on Rumble. So if you don't have it, haven't seen Illicit and those guys for a while. It's the off season. You know, we don't get a lot of engagement on the off season, but we'll get there eventually. But you guys that are on here, get Rumble and we'll comment on there. That's where we're going to answer them. So again, that's a great way to support us and really help grow this podcast. So, yeah, until next time, guys, I'm going to start saying this before we get off. There's no substitute for the grind. So keep that in mind.
Nice.
All right, Brett.
All right, man. All right.
See you guys. See you next week.
See you guys.